You're listening to the Sex, Drugs, and Jesus podcast, where we discuss whatever the fuck we want to. And yes, we can put sex and drugs and Jesus all in the same bed and still be all right at the end of the day. My name is Devanin, and I'll be interviewing guests from every corner of this world as we dig into topics that are too risque for the morning show, as we strive to help you understand what's really going on in your life. There is nothing off the table, and we've got a lot to talk about, so let's dive right into this episode. I enjoyed the fuck out of this super sexy conversation I got to have this week with my homegirl in Colombia. Her name is Paloma, but you can call her MoMa for short. She has her master's in human sexuality and couples therapy, and she is by far the sexiest life coach and sex therapist I have ever seen, and she's got the pictures on her social media and website to back it up. Now, in this episode, we're going to talk about how religion can interfere with sex, if nudity really has to be sexual. MoMa has advice for men and women and even couples as well. We round it off with some positive sexual affirmations, and I have a little thirsty confession that I just had to gab about, and I regret nothing. Please enjoy this episode. Hello, everyone. Today I have with me Miss Paloma, also known affectionately as MoMa, and she's recording from Colombia. How are you doing today, my baby?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for joining me. I'm excited for this sexy conversation we're about to have. My God, researching you, your photos. I mean, we have ass, we have tits, we have so much positive sexual energy coming from you. You know, you're not our typical sex therapist. You know, you're not, none of your pictures, you're not sitting behind a desk with a pen and pad. You're out in nature doing shit and engaging with your spiritual side. So this is going to be a very different take. And I just have to say one thing before I let you tell us about you. Your name, Paloma. When I went to a strip club when I was younger, and I think I was still in the Air Force, and I was trying to like hang out with the straight boys to see if I could become straight and everything like that, which doesn't work if, if you're not straight. But it was Paloma. We went to this strip club. And she was this tall, beautiful, blonde, I think maybe Brazilian girl. I don't know. I'll never forget her white nails and everything like that. And she was the first girl who let me stick my finger in her pussy. In fact, she insisted on it. I think I may have still been a virgin at the time, and women really get into that sort of thing with young men. And so the name Paloma, she was the first Paloma I've ever met, the stripper at this club with my fingers all up in her pussy until I met until I met you. How does that make you feel?
Oh my God, that's such an interesting story. Like you have a good memory of Paloma then.
I will never forget Paloma. As far as I'm concerned, all the Palomas in the world can do no wrong.
Thank you for that.
So tell us about your history and the passion that has driven you to become a sex therapist, a psychiatrist, and everything like that.
Okay, so I always was like very tended to like study the mind, the human mind. I started as a psychology and then like during my bachelor, I was like kind of disappointed because I was like, oh my God, there's like office psychology, there's educational psychology and all this, but I never felt like an attraction for all these topics. So then in the last semester, I took sexology, and then that's when I fell in love with the subject. And then I decided to do like a master in sex and couple therapy, and literally changing my life. Like I learned so much there. My passion of being like a sex therapy started when I started working with women that struggle with anorgasmia. So I found myself very passionate about the fact that there's some women that get to 40s or even 50 and they never experience an orgasm. And I was like, like, yo, this is like weird. How a woman the whole freaking life can experience an orgasm. So yeah, that's when I start like feeling attraction to this like particularly problem. And then that's when I started to like do some research, keep preparing myself. And I decided to like create a program for women that struggle with anorgasmia or with like lack of sexual confidence and stuff like that. So yeah, so far I feel very fulfilled with my job. I like to help women to get the sex life that they deserve and that they want.
So what is that that term I keep hearing you mention can you say it for me a little bit slowly? Because it sounds like is it like a medical term for women who don't have orgasms?
Exactly. Yeah. Anorgasmia.
Oh, inorgasmia. Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was I mean, I knew it was a thing, but I didn't know it was like a whole term for it. So that's like is that like a medical condition?
Yeah. It's like a medical condition and it has like three different there's like anorgasmia situational anorgasmia. There's primary anorgasmia and then there's secondary anorgasmia. So each of this one, like if you want me to talk about each of one, I can, or if you want to continue to another question.
Sure. Go ahead and break it down because I know that you do like different coaching and things like that. And so people can get a glimpse of how detailed, your mind is and how deep your knowledge goes. So go for it.
Okay. So we have primary anorgasmia. This is the one that does like happen to women that never experience anorgasmia like in their entire life. So this is like the most, I think, the saddest of them all. Then there's secondary anorgasmia. That is when like a woman have like were capable of achieving orgasm before, and then like suddenly they can't achieve anymore. So that's why it's secondary. And then there's situational anorgasmia. That is happens to a woman that can achieve orgasm by herself, for example, in masturbation or solo sex, but can achieve orgasm with a partner. So that's why it's situational.
I see what you're saying. And so then talk to us about exactly what service you do provide as far as the coaching and everything like that. And then also want to know what makes you different from everyone else.
Okay, so my service include I now have like a program that is called Sexual Healing. That is 8 weeks transformational program that I I have one-on-one calls with the clients. I also have like an online course. So it's like based on sex educate them in each topics. So each module talks about one topic. So yeah, I think what makes me different, if you if you want me to brag about, is that I'm actually make a transformation in my clients. Like if they want to go from point A to point B, I know I teach them how, because they probably want what they don't know. So yeah, I mean, like most of these women that struggle with this kind of anorgasmia is because either religion, either lack of sex education, either not enough sexual confidence, or a mixture of all. So yeah, I think that these programs helps them like to get that sex education and understand, like create, like kind of change the programming society tells you about sex, all the stories they have created about sex that are mostly bad. So they change their mind, then they change their sex life.
Tell me, you said religion. How does religion stop a woman from achieving orgasm?
Okay, so it's not particularly stop them from achieving orgasm, because it's not that specifically, but like religion interfere with sex, because all the stuff that they say, like I don't know if you are a religious person or what, but most of like Catholic women that reach me out, they think that sex is only like for procreating, not like to have pleasure. Most of the stuff like they grew up thinking is that you can be this way. I mean, like you can act sexually open because men are gonna think bad of you, or you just be like very behave. You know, like they, I don't know, like I was raised in Catholic religion, and I tell you, like the stuff that they tell you about sex are all that. So there's not sex education in this religion. There's no, like people think they grew up thinking that sex is only for one purpose, and not, it's not like for you to have a pleasurable life or to be like open sexually, you know? So yeah, I think that's the main problem in here. Like religion plays a big role when people can have the sex life they want.
Okay. So what you're saying is religion has taken the natural joy out of the sexual experience. Well, that probably explains why so many I'm gonna throw a little bit of shade right now. That's why so many Republicans, which here in the States, that's our conservative political party, the Republican Party, the ones who want to tell everybody else how to live, while they're always frowning and not smiling. So, 'cause they claim to be highly religious and everything like that. I bet you they're not having no orgasms over there. So all of our problems in the United States, y'all, boil down to orgasms. People need to get in touch with their bodies, and we can get on as a country.
Exactly, yeah.
And so, because oh my God, you mentioned the C word, Catholicism. I know so many people who like used to be Catholic. Oh my God. And so because you in my research of you, and you mentioned how you were growing up before. You got specific, and you were saying how like it was okay for like boys to say to have like three different girlfriends, but if you were there to feel attraction for any boy, then it was bad. Now, was that all religion, or was that like a cultural thing too?
Yeah, I think culture plays a big role too. So it's a combination. I must say is culture and religion, because for example, in back in my country DR, that's something that happens like very often. Like parents encourage little boys to have like, hey, you should have three girlfriends in at school. How many girlfriends you get today? And then they look at the girl and say like, you shouldn't be talking with boys. You should be like behaving and covering yourself. Don't show your legs. So this is something that really is in like in their programming there. And I believe that is in entire Latin America. So yeah, I think culture and religion are like the main factors of why people grew up thinking that sex is bad, and then they have like unsuccessful sex lives because they just like they have all these and they can get rid of all these thoughts because it's not easy, you know, like that's why you actually need a professional to help you get there, because it's hard to fight with a programming that you have your entire life.
Right. Dude, the mind is a motherfucker, and we really do ourselves a good benefit once we get it under control. So this here is reminding me of like, say, addiction struggles for substances and things like that, because it's like which is something that I've struggled with in life, because you learn a certain pattern and it becomes second nature to you. And even though it's no longer serving you, you keep doing it anyway. And then you have to have
Hmm.
professional help to help you to see where the thinking is divergent from, the good plan you have for your life. You need that outside look, and which is where you come in. And I heard you when you were saying like how the women are not supposed to, y'all were told to keep your bodies covered. I read another story when I was researching you. Such an interesting story you do have, my dear. I must preface this by saying I'm a part of the free tit movement for women. I don't care. I think y'all should be able to go in the grocery stores and everywhere with your boobies flopping around if that's what the fuck you do. Because, I don't care. I think y'all should be able to do what you want to with your body. And you were telling us and I was reading, there was a story where you were tanning on a beach in the Dominican Republic. It was your first time being topless. And some really, in my opinion, ratchet ass friends of yours showed up and they took pictures of you without you knowing. And then they shared this to people. And then you received insults and things like that. And the title of what you wrote was Stop Sexualizing Nudity, or at least that was the point of it. If I'm not getting the title correct, I apologize. So, talk to me about why we should stop sexualizing nudity, and what was this experience like being topless for the first time?
Yeah, so it was very interesting because I always consider myself like a wild creature. Like I like to be naked, and then as you say, like I'm always like with my nipples showing and my titties out. So yeah, so like it was like hard for me because that you mentioned that day at the beach, I remember it was the first time I went topless in a Vision VR. So I was just, I think I was 23 or something. I don't remember. And I was with a friend, and she was like, "Oh my God, yeah, let's do it." She was like very empowering me for doing that. But then, like later that day, I remember that some of my friends, male friends, were telling like, "Hey, yo, like, look, you are famous in Snapchat because everybody is showing your tits and sending like your." They're saying stuff like, "Oh, she must be a slut or she must be a hoe because who the fuck does like who which woman does that in aviation VR?" So yeah, it was very interesting for me because I remember feeling bad for like a couple of seconds, and then I was like, "Fuck this! I don't care about this. Like, this is not the kind of man that I want to be around." So that kind of like helps me to even build more my sexual self, and even to honor who I am. Because as I tell in that article, is that why people keep like associating sex with nudity, because we came to this world nude, like literally. Why I guess that it's easy to associate them because you make love naked, but in reality, we are supposed to be naked. Like, I don't know, it's just my thinking. So yeah, I think I like that part of empowering myself to be who I am. I'm like honoring my sexual self by being whatever the fuck I want to go out, or if I want to be naked in a certain picture in my Instagram, like that's on me. It's my body. Like I remember when I was 4 years old telling my mom, "Hey, mom, please take picture of me naked." And my mom agreed. So, like why I need to change if even my mom, that was the one that brought me to this world, was accepting me as I am. So if I didn't have that strength of continue being myself, even though all my environment tells like we're telling me to not be that way. Maybe I shouldn't be. I wouldn't be helping women to achieve the sex life that they deserve.
Amen, amen, and amen to that one, sister. That's what the fuck. Free your mind, free your tits, free everything. Just be free.
Yeah, exactly.
So one thing that I read was a part of the reason why you do what you do is to, you said, I wanted to create my own way to understand this essential part of the human existence, talking about, sex and everything, to help me so I can help others, to heal so I can heal others, to learn so I can teach others. So I want to know, what is it that you personally have had to be healed from, or what is something that you're currently struggling with yourself?
Okay, I think that what I just like mentioned, I think plays a big role of me healing, because just the fact that you like grew up in an environment that doesn't allow you to be yourself is like that's something that you need to heal from. So I think part of my encouragement of like being that way is that I can help others be in that way, because as a woman, and I know like most of my clients, like they wish to have this like encouraged to like just being themselves, like, but they are just so trapped in the programming that they just like flow in this direction even though they don't want that. So I think that like maybe answer your question, like if I heal myself in this part, I can heal others. If i if i like help women to accomplish this kind of like mental state and freedom, I think they will have like they actually improve their sex life after changing the mindset.
Everything boils down to the mind. So, give us an example of a good client success story, one that really stands out with you that you're particularly passionate about. Tell me somebody who you really, really, really helped out and what happened with them.
Okay, so let me think of one case. Okay, so there was a client of mine that she was struggling with situational inorgasmia because she was able to accomplish orgasm like by solo sex, well, but not with her partner. Also, she was struggling because she wanted to open the relationship and the partner didn't want to. So from when she got to me, she has this kind of problem. After the 8 weeks of working with her, she was having orgasm with her partner, and she also was allowed to have her first threesome with him. So yeah, I mean, like it was such an interesting case because only the only thing she needed was like the reassurance of like someone telling her that it was okay to feel this way. It's okay. Like you are not wrong for wanting to be free or wanted to like experience sex in a different way that you were not taught to. So I think, yeah, I think what plays a big role when you're working with clients is just like give them the power, the reassurance, and also like the education. Because when people are educated, they they have them all, like they have all. Because when you're like in a state of, oh, I don't know what's this, or I don't know if I should have been feeling this way or stuff like that, like from a point of fear, like then you act, all the stuff that you do is like acting from fear. But when you have this like someone telling you you can do this, you are okay doing this, like it's not that you are wrong, it's just like society telling you. So when they have this kind of like support, they change their life, honestly.
All we need is a little bit of support and reassurance so that we can believe in ourselves. What we believe is everything. I guess that's kind of like I was mentioning earlier. Well, I kind of alluded to it, when I was fingering the other Paloma at the club, I was I, I was there with a bunch of straight guys who I would much rather have been having sex with the guys. But, I was there trying to see if I could become straight. Now, why did I ever think that there was anything wrong with me not being straight? You know, God never told me that. People told me that, and put that in my head. And then I decided to receive that. Then now it's taking time for me to actually believe that I'm okay. But what we think is wrong with us and not okay with us does not even start with us. It starts from somebody else, or some external force.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm happy for her and her first three-way and everything like that. That can be very, very fun when you open up a relationship. I love how in the Old Testament of the Bible, there are so many examples of open relationships and things like that. So I feel fine about open relationships myself too. So you see couples and individuals. On the individual side of things, are you seeing individual males or is it just females?
So at this point, it's like I was working mostly with females, but like this last month, I'm open to working with men too. Honestly, I have like an increase of males talking, like reaching out to me because they want to have like a call and someone that they can like vent to and talk openly about sex, because that most people like lack right now. Like they sex is not like an easy topic to talk. So people, even though they have a trust with you, like they have friends and family, they don't feel comfortable talking to. So this happens more with males. So I'm opening like my service to men too. Yeah, for example, in my program sexual healing, the one that I was talking about a bit ago, I I work mainly with females like until the 7th week. Then the last week, if they have a partner, I have like a session with them both. And yeah, it's very interesting because I always like to see the other side of the story when I talk with them. So it actually helps them as a couple and helps my female client to like also open herself more. And when I have these sessions, these couple sessions,
How long are the sessions?
how long you mean that in time?
Yes, in time.
1 hour.
And are you giving them homework to do and all of that, or?
Yeah, I give them homework, and also like each module have workbooks. So the workbooks like usually have 7 or 6 tasks and questions, and also like journaling prompts. So yeah, it's very complete.
Okay, that's all cool. So I was reading also how the work that you do helps people both in and out of the bedroom. And we may have talked about this some, but I want to go deeper into how sexual confidence, sexual healing can translate into areas of our lives outside of actual sex itself.
Okay, interesting question. I always talk about how when a woman or even a male, like even a man, like if they are having a good sex life or a sex life that they are fulfilled, I think they like do well in all the areas of their life because it happens in my experience, and I see that in my friends and in my clients as well. Like when a woman is empowered in bed, in the bedroom, like this woman has the strength to go outside the world and be herself, like in her business, in her in her relationships, in all areas. Because like what I found is that when people don't have like confidence in the bedroom, in the bed, like, or with the partner, like they lack this confidence in all areas of their life. So when you change that, actually you create a change in their entire like an entire life. It's, I must say.
I agree with you. And why I think that is, my dear, is because of how inherent sexual feelings are to us. God created sex, humans didn't create sex. You know, People try to control it, but it actually wasn't our idea. It came from a spiritual being. And so the one who created us, if you choose to believe that. And so sex is like breathing, it's like eating. Like you think about food, you don't even have to think about breathing, but you feel sexual, whether you want to or not. So it's with us everywhere we go. And so if you feel arousal or you feel sexual, you think about yourself and you don't have a positive connotation of that, you don't have positive experiences, or you don't have a positive state of mind about it, I could see how that could pull you down everywhere that you go. And and for as like people or the church or whatever trying to shame people or tell them that sex isn't good, I believe it creates internal conflict in us because we're fighting against something that's natural. It's like trying to stop yourself from breathing, and when you have that internal struggle inside of you, I could see how that could infiltrate other areas of your life because you're not really truly at peace and you're not really truly whole.
Indeed, yeah, indeed.
And so sex is positive. It's a part of who we are. And I want you to talk about tantric sex and how this gets spiritual in and just run with that because I think this is a huge thing that I think sets you apart as well.
Yeah. So I believe tantric sex can help individuals and couple as well to try to control themselves better in sex, like to develop sexual resistance or sexual, how I say, like a sexual strength. Because if as you know, like tantra sex is about holding, like saving the orgasm and like just having sex for hours and trying to like control this natural response of the body of having the orgasm. So once you master this, you are mastering like a big part of what is sex. So when you have this, like when you allow your body to actually come, then you are like the one that is in control of this. So yeah, I think it's a practice that can help people to build this sexual strength and also like to build more connection with a partner. Like if you do this courses or this practice with a partner is like kind of a strained relationship. And yeah, I think we it's like a very interesting, bueno, en español es rama. It's like a very interesting, if I can say, like tantra sex is something that can really helps individual and couple as well.
So, so as you mentioned, individual. So you're saying most of the men come to you for communication. It sounds like, and one of the other quotes that I pulled from I think your Twitter feed, was you're saying that good sex comes to those who communicate. And I believe that we're talking about how we communicate with ourselves as well as with our partner or partners. So in the way that you're helping men, it sounds like that they like to communicate with you maybe whereas they can't talk to their partners, maybe they can talk to you. Can you give me like an example of like maybe like an exercise you might give like a guy to do or to go home with it that might help him?
You mean like talking about communication?
Communication or whatever it is he might be seeing you for.
Okay, so I think there's a pattern in this in like in men that I have noticed, and is that they most of them like struggle with talking with their partners about what they want. Like I always listen to them like I wish my partner do this or do that, but I'm afraid to talk to them because they get offended easily or they think that I'm like suggesting of them to be in a certain way or So this fear of not feeling comfortable talking openly. I think there's like I always have like I have a good exercise for this, and it's like take your partner and draw like a human body, and then with a color, like with a green color, you color the parts that you like to be touched, and then with a red color you draw the parts that you don't like to be touched. And it's like such a simple, and even like it's like I sometimes I feel like childish doing this exercise, but it helps so much because people like don't talk about sex. They are so afraid, like they are so awkward. So I encourage them to own the awkwardness and talk. Like if you are not the kind of people that are extrovert, just do this exercise. Like draw, like feel like a kid again with your partner and like tell them how you like to be touched or what do you like what do you like to touch about like in their bodies, like so I think communication is key. People don't see this, but communication can improve so much a sex life. Also, I always recommend men to know which kind of love language their partners have. Love languages are such a good life hack to know because sometimes you are expressing love in a certain way, but your partner's love language is not that. So you're like doing nothing. So at the end of the day, like you are trying to express love, but you are not get like your partner is not getting the message because this they don't like interpret love in this way. So knowing which love language is your partner is like honestly a life hack.
Okay, so I love what you said about the exercise, the red and the green, because we tend to associate green as good and red as bad. Generally speaking, traffic lights and everything like that. It doesn't have to be in spiritual circles, especially. Pretty much all colors are positive. But what that sort of exercise does is retraining the brain, and the spirit, or like you would a child. Like you said, it is kind of childish, but I love it. We're all kids at heart. Red is hot. Don't touch that. Great.
Yeah, exactly.
And now, y'all, when she's talking about love languages, if you research love languages, there's a book out there about that, and there's information on the internet. But it's talking about a way a person receives affection. So I think, one might be physical touch, another one might be words of affirmation, another one might be like gifts, another one might be doing service work, like cleaning the house or doing laundry. So what so what my girl here, Miss Mama, is saying is like, if your girl would prefer you to say nice things to her, and that's how she receives love, then she would rather you say nice things to her rather than you to buy her a gift. And or if she would prefer service work, she would rather come home to a clean house or the laundry being done rather than you to say a bunch of nice shit to her all the time. And so the point is getting understanding of what your partner prefers rather than assuming what they want. That way your chances of success will increase dramatically.
Exactly. You are so right. Like wow, you know too much about this.
And so thank you, my sweets. And so because another thing you say is that on your in my researching, you said that what you've learned is not to assume anything unless it is communicated.
Yes.
And when I read that, I reminded of how there was a time that I was trying to get this guy who was like bisexual to a point, into a relationship, and how you talk about how we can get into these fantasies in our heads about what we think a person wants and how we think it's going to be and everything like that, but we haven't cleared this with this individual. We've run off with this fantasy in our mind, and that doesn't make that doesn't make it a reality. It doesn't mean it's gonna come true. We gotta open our mouth and communicate. That way we don't set ourselves up to be let down. So I decided that I was gonna have him and it was gonna be this whole great life together, you know, and everything like that. He got real with me. He was like, he only wants to have sex with boys, but he will only date and have relationships with girls. And it was what it was. And I'm all like, no, no, no. I'm gonna change him. It's gonna be like, thank God I am not confused, insecure, and thirsty like that anymore. Oh, I was thirsty. And so, and so, so talk to us about the dangers of running away with fantasies in our head, eh, assuming, especially like this, when somebody's telling us what they do or don't want, but we refuse to hear it because we are so set in what we've already determined in our head. 'Cause some people I think are doing this and not realizing it.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting you mentioned that because that happens so much. Like sometimes people start fantasizing and like they have created all these stories like in their heads, and they like when they are confronted with reality, they are so disappointed and so like like so sad. So that's why you mentioned something that is very very important, and it's like to have a strong confidence, and also like a know of your worth, like know what are your value in this, like even though this person like is not, that happens a lot, like I think in the LGBT community because like that happens to me with a woman that she thought I was like completely lesbian, and I don't consider myself lesbian, but I play with women. So she was like making herself like she was like kind of telling everybody that she wants me to be her girlfriend and this and that, and then like I needed to take her and then like, hey, look, I honestly appreciate you and I appreciate who you are, but I'm not like I don't consider myself lesbian. Like I even though we play together, like I don't see myself with a woman. And then she was like, oh my God, I sorry, like sorry for being telling all these people that you were my girlfriend and blah blah blah. And I was like, no, it's okay, babe. Like, but this doesn't need to change who you are because just like it's just like my inclination or my like what I like or what I don't like. So I think people in this situation needs to first ask because communication is key before you assume. Like just ask, hey, is this like is this something that you want? Is this something that you see? Because then that can really like fucks up your mind, like if you are not aware of this.
Yeah, it never ceases to amaze me how little people are comfortable talking about sex, but will go out and do it 5 days a week. Just have do a whole lot of sex and everything like that, but cannot really articulate what's being done. It's something about the power of words.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, power of words.
Now, let's talk about men for a moment. I think I got this from your Twitter feed. You wrote a post. Dear men, good habits are a huge turn on for women. And I wanted to talk about some of these habits that you like in men, shall we?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So, the first one you say is cut out substance abuse. What sort of experience have you had that would make you put that on there? Was the first thing you wrote?
Okay, so I always like to mention the difference between like abuse and use because you can use a substance. For example, you can even coffee is a substance, so you can drink coffee, you can drink alcohol, you can even smoke weed or whatever. But if there's like a fine line between use and abuse, so I guess when people incurring like in this behavior of abusing of a substance, that they are weakening themselves. So I always like to mention this, like even to my friends or family or more than that clients, like it's not about not using something, it's about not abusing.
Fair. And okay. Then you say be passionate about your business.
Yeah, I think that's for me, that's a big turn on when I see a man like there is like driven passion driven by his business, like what he does, like I think that gives meaning to someone when you like actually have something that you want to wake up and do and like try to change the world in a certain way or in your own center way or even trying to change yourself so you can see like so you can create a change in the world. So I think that honestly for me is something that I always look for in a partner, like someone that is really passionate about what it does, even though if it doesn't own a business, but the like the company that he works for example, that he feels good about working with them, so that gives them meaning in life.
Yeah, having meaning in life is super crucial. And, I'm going to be 39 this Thursday. So I'm approaching my cougar years and I couldn't be more thrilled. My boyfriend's 25. I'm about to be 39. This is the life for me. This is the way to live, darling. And as I am getting more cougary, I am beginning to be more turned on by the stuff that you're talking about. Not so much like the six packs and the chiseled jaw lines and all the typical masculine traits, but I need that spirit to be right. I need that motivation. I need that drive. I need that ambition. And I think maybe just this year, hell, maybe within the last like month, or a couple of months, I've started to feel this way. Passion is sexy, and I've become turned off by guys who don't seem to know what they want to do, or at least they're not really trying to figure it out. And you saying here, get daily sunlight. That seems so simple that I really want you to explain why it's there, because you go from cut out substance abuse to get daily sunlight. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, people are not aware of how important it is sunlight and like even to sun your genitals. Like when you get this kind of energy that is vitamin D actually, you are like you like the good benefits that you're giving to your body, healthy, talking about health, like health, talking about emotions, talking about everything. Like when I have found this in my experience. Like I used to not take sun. Like I'm an islander, so I always was like afraid of taking sun. And then like when I started to do some research about the benefits of sun, like taking sunlight and sun in your genitals, like I see such a difference in my life, like for real. That's why they say when people live in like in cities that don't have sunlight or always like gray sky, people get depressed because
mm.
the like that's something so real and so misinterpreted. Because what I see is that if you see like the stream media stream, like nobody wants you to take sun, and this is so simple. So I think there's something in there that honestly people need to reach, like to reach some information, because in my experience has changed my life.
So you're saying sun and genital. So you're going fully nude on the beach is what you're talking about.
Yeah,
And you're saying
exactly.
so you're
I
saying,
open my legs and sun my genitals.
all right, so if we get sun on our dicks and pussies, they work better?
Yeah, yeah. It's actually better for the reproductive health.
Huh. Who knew?
Yeah, yeah. It's and it's free.
Right? And and then you mentioned for men to stop hanging with losers. So are you seeing guys being negatively impacted by hanging around guys, or are they like pulling them down or holding them back? Unfold that for me.
Yes, that's something that I also have seen in my experience. Like when a man is surrounded by like successful people in a certain way, and success is like something very relative, but because success for you can be success for me can be like something just being surrounded by people that are like, for example, passionate about their business, or that take care of them, like, or have like a good healthy habits. So like for me that's success. So when I see people that are like, so men are surrounded by this kind of like men that are only thinking, or like, oh, let's just go there and let's just get drunk and get some women, go back to the apartment and fuck them and bye bye. Like this kind of energy honestly will have you like not accomplish everything that you want in life. Because as I say, like we have a saying in PR that is like, tell me with who you are and I will tell you how you're going to be in a year. So if you surround yourself with people that are not like self-aware of what they want in life, you can literally like stay in this spot. You can easily be driving to just be like them. So when I refer to loser, it's just like people that are not, maybe like they don't want a family, or they don't care about their business, or they don't care about even their health. They just like are focused on, as I say, going out, getting women, and bye bye. So yeah, that's what I refer when I'm talking about losers.
Or as Cardi B would say, broke boys don't deserve no pussy. And broke is not just financially. Broke means being a loser, being have fucked up energy, all of that. If you are broken, you got to get a hold, my fellas. Yes, that's not.
Exactly.
Do you not love that
Yeah.
from Cardi? Hey, y'all.
Yeah.
Now, you also say dominant men don't control women. You say their energy is dominant, their presence itself gives safety and security. Women bask in it. So, help men understand that what you're talking about here when you say dominant men don't control women. Dominant men don't control women. Their energy is dominant.
Yeah, when I refer to this, I'm referring to alpha men, like the kind of man that knows how like to own a woman or own a individual. Because even in like gay couples, we see always there's an alpha and there's like the other one. So what I'm trying to say in this, like, it's not about a man wanting to control a woman, but when you like find yourself in this kind of energy that is like because the man is dominant, you actually like let yourself to flow or let yourself to be lead because you know like you feel safe in their energy. So it's not about like dominance, it's more about like what this kind of energy creates in you.
Hmm. All right. Kick ass. So, we're going to talk about some positive affirmations here. You have a really cool like meditation video on your YouTube channel, and all of this will go in the show notes. You gave us 30 positive affirmations for sexual confidence. We'll just talk about a few of them, and then we'll get into giving you the last word here, as we go here in a little bit. So I've listened to a lot of meditations in my day. I've been to all kinds of meditation circles and everything like that, but ain't none of them been specifically about sexual confidence. And you say some interesting things in here. Shall we have a discussion?
Yeah.
So, so you say I have intense and frequent sexual orgasms that satisfy my body and mind. Um, Another one you say is I am easily aroused. I love the way my body looks naked. Now, these are the sort of things people struggle with. And it sounds simple, but I bet you that there's a lot of value to saying this to ourselves because this is helping to rewrite the negative things we've learned. Talk to us about why you made this positive affirmation for sexual confidence video.
Indeed, exactly just what you mentioned. Like when I believe in the power of affirmations because that kind of works in all the negative programming that we have in ourselves. So when like even if it's like I started doing affirmations when I was like in a really bad state in my life. And if it wasn't even like sexual affirmations, it was more like I am happy, I'm allowed, my feelings are allowed to be here and stuff like that. But then like when I start to see the change in my mindset of doing this, I like I wanted to do this in a sex way because like when I give my clients this affirmations to practice, they actually if they do it periodically, like if they actually practice this like in a regular basis, that they make a change. Like when you talk softly to yourself, this kind of like creates such much power in you because you if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So when you give yourself these kind of affirmations and repeat them out loud, you are creating an environment of like positive state in even in your house, in your room, whatever where you do this. Like you are just putting yourself in the right energy. So yeah, I think I'm more drive to do more because I just did that. But yeah, I should thank you for reminding me this because I think there's so much power in it, like just to be positive and affirmate stuff that you want to create in your life.
Right. So, y'all, we can put, sexual things on our vision boards too. It doesn't have to all be houses and money, you know,
Exactly. Yeah.
put a dick
Yeah.
there or an orgasm, a woman orgasming or something. And so another one you said, I accept rejection from sexual partners with respect. And I wanted to talk about this one because the way I see some people handle rejection is so damaging. And so, what I'm thinking you're saying here is like if somebody rejects you, they say you're not pretty or your body is not good enough or something about you just doesn't work for me for whatever reason. It seems like the wisdom here is to respect what they said, but not necessarily take it into yourself as your reality and internalize it. Wait,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like when someone rejects you, you need to know that it's something that is in them, not in you. Like this doesn't determine your value as a person or whatever. It's just like a matter of what this person likes or don't like, or even like if a person rejects you in a bad way, like I think they must have like some unresolved issues in themselves because I always believe you can reject someone, but in a empathetic way, you know. So when I tell them it's just like accept with love that this person either have some problems or either just don't like you. And the fact that this person doesn't like you don't change your value as a person and doesn't mean that someone gonna come along and then just find you the most attractive person in the world. So yeah, just see this as something separate from you.
you girl, I could not have said that better. And I hope people really perk up and listen to what you have to say because too many of our lives are dominated by, in a negative way by other people. You know,
Yeah, yeah. So true.
what is your favorite positive sexual affirmation?
Always like to tell myself I honor my sexual self because I believe that when you honor yourself in every area of your life, even sexual or not, like you are just making your existence valid, and you are the one that needs to make your existence valid because nobody will do this for you. So when you honor yourself, you do the stuff you want. You do like even if it's just like go to on a date with this person and you are honoring yourself to go and have the courage after a breakup to do this is because like you honor the space you are in this time of the in this time and in this space in the world. Like so when you honor yourself, you are giving yourself reassurance and the power of be whatever the fuck you want.
Be whatever the fuck you want. I know that's right. So this is my last question for you, and then I'm gonna let you have the last word. I always like let my guests have the last word. And you can tell the world whatever you want to tell the world. So, what? But I want to know just lastly, what would you like to say about the vagina and the female orgasm that you think most women don't know?
I will tell them to please stop faking. Not don't don't fake your orgasm because you are just doing harm to yourself. And I know that it's hard. I know that you don't want your partner to feel bad because you are not capable of achieving orgasm. But if you keep faking, then you're gonna be in a rut that is gonna be very hard for you to get out. So if you are listening to me and you're faking your orgasms, like you have a solution, but you need to be aware of this, accept this, so you can make a change.
Well, shit, bitch, that's not what I was expecting you to say, but I'm good. but, but I good, good lordy, good lordy. But I'm glad you said it. I mean, and I never thought about it that way. But yeah, but I mean, I mean, every time a woman or should I guess anybody is faking an orgasm, I suppose they're programming their bodies that way and their minds that way. And honestly, it's not the truth at the end of the day. It's a fucking lie.
Exactly.
It's meant from a good place, but doing that over and over again like that, I could see that. I could see what you're saying. Oh my god, oh my god. I need to get. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know. I kind of wish I was a woman so I could get some woman advice from you. All right, let me hush my mouth for just a second here. So now you just tell us, Miss Mama, anything at all, whatever it is you want to say, just go ahead and preach.
So I want to tell everybody to have this two stuff in mind. Like when you are struggling with a sex life that you don't want or you are not happy with, communication is key, sex education, and also like be aware of your own toxic traits and accept them so you can make a change.
Here. It is what it is. Let's be real. Let's be real about it. All right.
Indeed.
And where can people find you, my dear?
So you can find me in all social media as Aware Mama. Also, my website is awaremama.com. So I'm open to DMs. Like if you wanna just reach out to me and tell me your situation, or I always reply fast.
Thank you so much, Mama, for coming on the show. It has been such a pleasure to have you here, and it's been so great to have a real sexual conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, it was one of my best interviews so far.
Thank you all so much for taking time to listen to the Sex, Drugs, and Jesus podcast. It really means everything to me. Look, if you love the show, you can find more information and resources at sexdrugsandjesus.com or wherever you listen to your podcast. Feel free to reach out to me directly at Devanin at sexdrugsandjesus.com and on Twitter and Facebook as well. My name is Devanin. It's been wonderful being your host today. And just remember that everything is going to be all right.